The first time Princess Veyra ordered a human to smile, 17 armed guards raised their rifles. Because the prisoner did not look pleased, he looked hungry, he looked ancient. He looked like every warning carved into the nursery stones of her empire had suddenly learned to breathe. Veyra had been raised inside crystal halls above the moon of Ashel, where tutors taught her that humans were soft things, emotional things, noisy little creatures from a blue world that had survived by accident and negotiated by embarrassment. Their smiles were supposed to be harmless signals, a baring of teeth that meant friendship, surrender, gratitude, the kind of primitive charm that made senators lower taxes and admirals underestimate fleets. So when the captured human captain stood chained in the royal observation chamber, bruised, burned, and silent, she leaned forward on her silver throne and said, "Captain Elias Rook, I wish to see a human smile." And the chamber changed. It was not the expression she had studied in cultural briefings, not the gentle curve from embassy recordings, not the warm, foolish grin of human merchants selling spice and music at border ports. This smile was thin, steady, and terrible. His lips pulled back just enough to show broken teeth. His eyes bright with something that was not joy, something older than joy, something that lived in caves, crossed oceans, buried children, built cities, and still woke up each morning, daring the universe to try again. One guard whimpered through his breathing mask. Another stepped backward. Princess Veyra felt the scales at her neck rise. That was when the prisoner whispered, "Not like that, princess." Her translator hesitated on the phrase, unsure whether it was correction, threat, or prayer. Veyra felt heat crawl beneath her jeweled collar. She had wanted a curiosity for her victory feast, a little performance after the conquest of Outpost Meridian, where her fleet had crushed the human defense line in 6 hours. She had wanted proof that the species was understood, cataloged, contained. Instead, the human captain smiled as if the chains were decorations, as if the guns were jokes, as if defeat had simply given him a better view of the enemy. Then the alarms began to scream. At first, everyone thought it was sabotage in the lower decks. Then the tactical glass erupted with red constellations, human civilian ships, hundreds of them. Impossible ships, mining barges, hospital shuttles, broken frigates patched with cargo holes, all rising from the shadow of Meridian like sparks from a dying fire. Veyra turned toward Admiral Soren, but his mandibles hung open. The humans had no fleet left, no command net, no weapons capable of threatening the royal dreadnought. Yet there they were, broadcasting one image across every channel. 1,000 human faces, exhausted, bloodied, terrified, smiling. The princess finally understood that humans did not smile only when they were happy. Captain Rook laughed then, soft and rough, and every guard aimed at his head. "Your Highness," he said, "you've studied our greetings, our trade customs, our soft songs, but you never studied our disaster footage. You never watched a firefighter smile before entering a collapsing tower. You never watched a mother smile at her child while hiding fear during a bombardment. You never watched a soldier smile when surrounded. Because to us, sometimes a smile means, 'I am afraid.' But you do not get to own my fear." A tremor ran through the dreadnought as the first civilian ship struck the outer shield. Not with enough force to break it, only enough to make it flare. A bright blue wound across the black. Then another ship hit, and another not suicide. Veyra realized geometry. They were striking precise shield harmonics, each impact feeding resonance into the defensive lattice. Old mining vessels carrying industrial pulse drills, hospital ships carrying reactor floods, barges carrying asteroid anchors. Every useless ship becoming one note in a terrible human song, dramatic truth arrived like a blade. The defeated had been building a weapon out of their wreckage. Admiral Soren shouted for return fire, but the gunnery officers froze, their screens filled with human broadcasts. Children on colony stations, smiling through tears. Engineers smiling while welding cracked engines shut. Pilots smiling while steering ships that should never have flown again. Veyra wanted to order the screens dark, but she could not look away. Not from the strange beauty of it, not from the horror, not from the realization that the expression she had collected like a trophy was not submission at all. It was ignition. Captain Rook shifted in his chains, and one of them snapped. The sound was small, almost delicate, but it broke the room more completely than any explosion. The guards fired, plasma bolts striking the human's restraint field. The field shimmered and died, overloaded not from outside, but from within. Veyra saw the black burn marks under his cuffs, saw the cuts in his palms, saw where he had been slowly, patiently, bleeding into the conductive locks since they dragged him aboard, salting the mechanism with iron, sweat, and human stubbornness. He had been working the whole time, she thought, even while silent. Even while beaten, even while smiling, the second chain snapped, and the princess forgot how to breathe. Rook moved before the guards could fire again. Not gracefully, not like the duelists of Veyra's court, but with brutal economy, shoulder into one rifle, elbow into a breathing valve, knee into a joint no alien expected him to know. 3 guards fell, then 5. Then the chamber lights flickered as the shield outside screamed under harmonic pressure. Veyra's royal tutor had once said humans were persistence predators, built to follow prey until it collapsed. The tutor had been wrong. Humans were persistence itself, shaped into bone and blood. Then the dreadnought shield shattered. Across the viewport, space turned white, not from an explosion, but from the sudden arrival of hidden human missiles riding behind the civilian wave, cold and dark until the last second, each one painted with a smiling mouth and crude white strokes. They slammed into the exposed weapon ports of the royal ship. Not enough to destroy it, enough to blind it, enough to silence it. Enough to make the greatest vessel in the Empire drift helpless before the planet it had come to conquer. Veyra looked at Captain Rook, and for the first time, she saw not a prisoner, not a primitive, not a curiosity, but the representative of a species that made courage look like madness, and madness look like strategy, stopped before the throne, bleeding from a dozen wounds, and offered his hand. "Surrender your ship, princess," he said, "and I will ask my people to spare your crew." Veyra stared at his hand, then at the screens, where the humans were still smiling. Not cruelly, not triumphantly, but with unbearable, tired mercy. And she realized that this was the smile she had wanted to see. Not the mask of friendship from diplomatic files, not the terror of a cornered captain, but the impossible expression of a species that could be hurt and still choose restraint. Slowly, Princess Veyra lowered her crown to the floor. Captain Rook's smile changed, then softened at the edges, became almost human in the way her briefings had promised, and somehow that frightened her more. Because now she knew the truth. A human smile was not one thing. It was a greeting, a warning, a shield, a weapon, a promise. And when humanity smiled at the darkness learned to step back,